My name is Sandra Gwines and I am the Kush Nurse. I'm coming to you today to talk a little bit about CBD products. And when people call them CBD products, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit because CBD is actually one of the compounds that are on the cannabis plant, but it's not necessarily what the CBD oil that we think of is made of. So, what we call CBD products, or what you see on the market as CBD, is hemp derived products. So, these products all come from the hemp plants. And so, one exciting thing is that it's legal in almost every state in the United States and it can be shipped to wherever you are. The challenge with hemp CBD is finding good quality because it's not regulated in many states, and it's just really hard to determine if the quality of the actual medicine is good. And then when they make it into an oil, their process, how they go about it, if it's clean, all of those things matter. And then how much actual CBD is in this bottle matters as well. For purposes of everything that I'm showing here, these are full spectrum products. What that means is that they have CBD plus the legal THC, which is 0.3%. And the reason that I recommend these products is because if you're able to use products that contain even that small amount of THC, it can be so beneficial for you because the plants work synergistically. And what that means is that CBD and THC work together, and we call that the entourage effect. The entourage effect is what helps the actual receptors turn on in your body and help with the healing effects of cannabis. And so, what they found in the research is that isolating THC or CBD and just using those compounds individually doesn't give the same effect as using them all together and the way that they come just from the plant itself, the way it grows. Okay. So I'm going to take a minute to show you all the products and kind of talk about why I like them, why my clients like them, and what is the whole hoopla about it. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is my absolute favorite thing. And I have it here for a reason because I pretty much put this on everything. And there's always one around our home somewhere. So the first product I'm going to show is the CBD Balm. And the CBD Balm is it smells delicious. It has kind of like a frankincense, kind of earthiness to it. And so the ingredients are coconut oil, clean green, certified full spectrum hemp extract, shea butter, beeswax, arnica oil, sunflower oil, jojoba oil, frankincense oil. So it smells amazing. And as you can see, it's pretty thick, like kind of like a shea butter. Obviously, I've used this one to death. And you can rub it on pretty much all the jointy areas. That's why I recommend this mostly. If you have like shoulder pain, which is what I have, I tend to rub this in. Oh, and it feels so good. So these products, one of the great things about them is that they do tend to last long. Like I feel like my husband and I kind of go through these. Um, he uses it and I use it. I use this about 2 to 3 times a day sometimes, but it's so awesome. So I have clients that come to me just for the balm because the balm is the balm. So things to know about the balm is usually with topicals, it can take about an hour or so for them to really start working. But then you get, a few hours of relief usually from topicals. And so, so far, this is probably my best seller. And quite honestly, it's one of my favorites too. So I use this, like I said, almost every day. The benefits of the balm is this is a full spectrum product. However, if you are not wanting to ingest any cannabinoids, if you're like, I don't want to put cannabinoid, I don't want to have cannabinoids and test positive or whatever it may be, you can use this because topicals do not metabolize in the liver. They don't get in your bloodstream. And so therefore, you're not likely to test positive for THC. So anywho, this is one of our best sellers and I highly recommend it. And like I said before, it smells really good. The other essential oils that are in here, like the frankincense and the arnica oil. If you don't know about arnica oil, it's very good for like sore muscles and that kind of thing. And then frankincense is very grounding and calming. So they all work together to kind of help with that relaxation and relief in those muscles right around the joints. A lot of people like this for their knees. I like it for my shoulder. And sometimes I'll even like rub it on my wrists and stuff because I have a little bit of carpal tunnel. So this one is a awesome one to have. And then I'm going to talk about the oil because pretty much everyone asks about CBD oil. So the CBD oil is it is CBD in hemp oil, so it does have kind of like an earthy taste to it. You can see the dropper right there. The recommended dosage on this is 25 milligrams, which is half of the syringe that's in here or the dropper that's in here. So this dropper is 1 milliliter and you would need half of that. Now I will tell you that many of my clients do not start at the halfway mark. Some of them will start with even less. I definitely prefer to teach my clients to go low and slow. And so I usually tell my clients to, the research recommends starting anywhere between 5 and 10 milligrams if you've never consumed any cannabis products before, and going from there. Is it going to give you a terrible side effect or reaction? Not likely. However, it can be alerting. It can have some people get a little bit of upset stomach or diarrhea. So it's good to know initially what your reaction or what your side effect would be, if any at all. And that way you can start, like I said, starting slow helps to eliminate a lot of that. So usually, like I said before, 5 milligrams to 10 milligrams is what the research suggests as a starting place. So this will last quite a bit. And again, if you need more, you can add more with the dropper. Where if you buy other products that are already dosed, it's a little bit different to figure out like what your needed dose is. So the one thing with cannabis is that you don't need to, more is not more. More is not better. More is just more. So you need to find kind of your therapeutic window. So what that means is there's a dose that is perfect for you, and it's not the same dose as anyone else. So you kind of have to start with a small dose and keep adding on until you find that happy place. And so this is really difficult for a lot of my clients because we're all used to going to the doctor to tell you exactly how many milligrams to take. And that's pretty much what we're used to. So with these products, you have to, with any cannabis products, you have to self-assess and determine how much, you need, and, if you are needing a little bit more, kind of adjusting there. So that's something that I definitely recommend to start with. I always tell people the gummies are great and they're easy to take, but you may not need 25 milligrams. And I'll talk about those next. So these are our gummies, and they're elderberry, blueberry, vegan gummies. And I'll show you guys what they look like. So the gummies are these little squares. And what I tell people, if they really want to start with gummies, is to start with half, okay? Because then you're not getting the full 25 milligrams. You're starting at like 12.5 milligrams. And there's a potential that you will, can find your happy dose from there. But it's hard for you to tweak and adjust because, again, this is 25 milligrams and there's not a whole lot of slicing and dicing you can do there. Another way that you can consume it, again, we talked about topicals. We talked about the drops in the CBD oil that you can put under your tongue. And we talked about the gummies. So with these products that you are ingesting, that you're taking by mouth, you have to understand also that there's a waiting game here. So anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour before you start feeling results. So that means that you really have to plan out your day. A lot of times what will happen is that we don't think about taking something for pain or anxiety or whatever it is until we're having that experience or symptom that we want to make go away. So My recommendation is to keep a journal, write how you're feeling, make sure that you're kind of timing what time of day is like the time when you really, really need to have some medication on board and have some support, and then work your doses around that. All right. So then the other option, which I actually like this option a lot, especially for older individuals. However, if I can get older individuals to get someone to help them with the dropper first, that's what I would recommend, just because we can find the happy dose there. These are also 25 milligrams. And again, you cannot divide these. So what these are gel caps that are filled with the cannabis oil in them. So you can just pop one of these in and be ready to go. So the good thing about cannabis, and I think it's important to note, is that it's very safe. There have been no deaths due to cannabis, which is an awesome thing. They record every single death. If there's a car crash, if there's heart attacks, if whatever people die from, there is a record of these types of deaths and how many there are. And there has never been a death recorded because of cannabis use. So does have a really, really high safety profile. A lot of these, a lot of my parents will also use the CBD gummies and or the dropper for their children. And obviously after speaking with their doctors. So those are other options. The next option that I'm going to show, and this is one that is really near and dear to me because I feel like it's very important to share resources that are like, this is super important. We don't talk about it enough. Anxiety is something that's really challenging. And when anxiety kicks in, it's hard to kind of talk it off the ledge. So, what I recommend many times for my clients that are open to it is consuming flower or consuming the actual herb. So, one of the things I'm going to show you first is the easiest way to consume some of our herbal pre-rolls. And this is what they look like. And they come in a pack of 5. So you get 5 pre-rolls in the pack. And basically you can light these up and you can take a few puffs until you feel relaxation, and you probably won't need to inhale this whole thing. If you've watched any of my other videos, then you know that I do not recommend smoking often. If possible, I recommend using other tools that can help you avoid the carcinogens of lighting and combusting, things like joints and blunts and those kind of things. However, in a case of an emergency or where you're feeling like the anxiety is really at a point where you want to manage it and you need support right now, the benefit of inhaling or smoking something is that you are literally getting results within seconds to minutes. So you don't have to wait for 30 minutes to an hour. And the challenge with edibles and tinctures and oils and all these is that even after 30 minutes to an hour, you may still not experience the effects of that medication because our bodies metabolize things at different rates. And depending on whether you ate or you didn't eat, or whether you had fatty foods or didn't have fatty foods, can depend on how fast you're going to be able to metabolize the cannabis and actually start feeling it within your body. So one of the recommendations is if you're using any of the edible type things or oral preparations, is having fatty foods like avocado, nuts, olive oil, things like that as a chaser or right before to help with that metabolism, because the fats help you with metabolizing and making more bioavailable for you. In addition to our CBD products, there's also one other topical that I want to talk about, and this is our massage oil. So these, we have 2 types of massage oils. This one is called Rise Up, and the other one is called Deeply Rooted. So Rise Up is more of like a citrusy based aroma, very uplifting. And then the Rise Up is a little bit more earthy. I'm sorry, and the Deeply Rooted is more earthy and has kind of that frankincense spicier kind of tones to it. So these are wonderful, even if you don't want to do massage, if you want to take a nice hot shower and then pour some of this in your hand and put it on your skin, it just leaves such a beautiful, soft, uh, moisturizing feel to it. Okay, so one of the last things I'm going to show as far as products is our flower. So if you're not familiar, cannabis, you've seen cannabis leaves and then they have buds on them, and the buds are the actual flowers, okay, of the plant. And so that's what we call our hemp flower or cannabis flower, is the actual dried buds that are used to um, for consumption. Now these buds are humongous. These buds, it smells so good. So what this smells like is oranges, very citrusy, maybe lemony. It just has such a beautiful, sweet smell to it. The strain that I'm looking at right now and I'm showing you is the Super Haze strain. So these bags are available and can be shipped to you. What I love about the flower is not just the what's the word? It's not just the aroma of the flower, but it's the stickiness to it. Like it just has such a great feel when you're grinding it with your hands or with a grinder, and it smells again amazing. So what do you do with this? You can actually roll it in a joint if you are able to do that. If not, you can get a little joint roller and some papers and do that. However, if you are following me at all, you can check out my video on herbal vaporizers. That is my recommended method, so that you do not light your joints or cannabis with a flame, because that causes combustion. So when you have combustion, what happens is you have carcinogens that you inhale. So it's just like when somebody smokes a cigarette and it has that black sooty ash, that is what you're inhaling. And so is it the worst thing ever? It's not, because you are consuming a great plant, but at the same time, the carcinogens just aren't that great. So there's other healthier, cleaner ways to consume cannabis, which I love to recommend. Does that mean that smoking is bad? No. I tell people what you have at the time when you need it is the best method. Okay. So the other thing about using just either the pre-rolls or the flower and rolling it and smoking it with a lighter is that it's cheap. Okay. So in the whole scheme of things, sometimes if you're not able to afford a vaporizer and all the other tools, then it's always really cheap to just get some rolling papers and be able to light some cannabis and have that to give you that instant relief. So the other thing to consider when you are smoking cannabis or inhaling it through a vaporizer or any other method, just the method of inhalation, whether smoke or vaporizer, is that it only lasts 2 to 4 hours possibly. So the duration is really short. So that's why I recommend a lot of the other products to kind of supplement with inhalables. So what happens is you can smoke a few draws from maybe a pre-roll or the flower, and then have some of the tincture or an edible to hold you over for a longer period of time. So when you consume something through the oral way, when you eat something or do the dropper orally, it tends to last longer, and you may get 6 hours of relief versus the 2 to 4 hours that you would get from inhaling. So with that said, I'm going to show you one more thing before I head on out. So now you know you want to find products that are clean, products that have a wide variety for you to choose from. And then the second thing that I really would recommend for you to do is make sure that your products are lab tested, and specifically third-party lab tested. That means that it's lab tested by someone, not the grower. It's a third party that's testing this product and making sure that you know what's in it. So for these oils, you can see, it tells you what date it was received. It gives you a batch number, all this good stuff. And then you can go down here and look and see the concentration of how much THC is in it, how much of the other cannabinoids, very small amounts of CBG and CBC and CBDA. So all these cannabinoids matter. I am not going to go into too much depth about each of these. CBDA is very good for anxiety and inflammation, and we actually carry a CBDA oil as well, that I have really been enjoying in my testing phase. And so you can also see, what is found, any heavy metals, any microorganisms that you don't want to have, pathogenic bacterial contaminants, mycotoxins, and then we go into the terpenes. Terpenes are important. So the terpenes are the oils that are on top of the cannabis leaves and plant, and each of those terpenes create specific effects. And so, for instance, beta carotene, which you see down here, is one of the ones that's found on this in this strain. It's very good for inflammation, for pain reduction, for relaxation. So it has quite a bit of benefits there. And so you can kind of just get an idea, okay, what is in this product? What kind of compounds are in it? And so once you know that it's clean and where it's sourced from, you know that it is how it was extracted. And that's important because you're getting the best quality product that you can possibly get. And so those are the things to look for when you're out there sourcing products. And it's really hard sometimes because if you get products from the grocery store, the gas station, most of those products do not have lab testing. And they also don't have a sufficient amount of CBD in them to really give you results. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions or would like to purchase any of the products that I mentioned in this video, I will leave a link below. And I will be back with another video to show you more about how to stay healthy with cannabis.